Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Apple iPhone 4S. It's available right now for $200 with a contract, starting off with the 16GB version. There are also the 32 and 64GB capacities as well. Now, the neat thing is that's available with 3 carriers this time around from the beginning. You have your choice between Verizon, Sprint, and AT&T. The version we have here is for Sprint. So it's been a year and a half since the iPhone 4 has been released, and we're finally seeing its successor in the iPhone 4S. S meaning whatever you want to call it, super, speedy, whatever it is. It boasts a similar design to its predecessor, but all the upgrades are found under the hood, so it seems like an incremental upgrade, such as the dual-core processor, the 8-megapixel autofocus camera, the world phone capability, and of course, the Siri voice assistant feed service that Apple offers. So we'll see whether or not the iPhone 4S is definitely a standout hit competitor in this ever-evolving landscape. Just like the iPhone 3GS, the iPhone 4S retains its predecessor's design almost every way except for the updated antenna design. You just have more notches for improved signal strength. But besides that, it's a near exact replica as its predecessor. We definitely like it still. A nice looking handset and premium feeling materials in use. You have the glass-like front cover and back, sandwiched together with the stainless steel brush band, which gives it a nice elegant look. A good amount of weight to it, which provides some sense of durability. Still compact just because of the 3.5-inch display on board, and it retains the iconic looks of its predecessors before it, and overall, it's still an appreciable design. Of course, some people might be bummed by the fact that the iPhone 4S retains the same 3.5-inch display used by other iPhones before it, but it's the same Retina display that we find on the iPhone 4 last year, and does pack one of the highest resolutions on any displays out there on the market. 640 by 960 pixels, and at that, you get a high pixel density, so it produces some sharp details, and the edges are nice and clear, and not a problem as far as web browsing too. Very easy on the eyes. It produces also some realistic looking colors, one of the better displays out there in the market. It doesn't look overly saturated, and combining its high brightness output, we didn't have any issues using it in outdoor conditions, so it's definitely easy on the eyes. And finally, the oleophobic coating keeps it looking clean when you take it out of your pockets. This wouldn't be an iPhone if we didn't find that iconic looking home button below its display. It's very easy to make out, and also tactile response when you press it down. Single press gets you back to the home screen. Double press will get you the multitasking menu, and when you do a long press, it activates Siri. Meanwhile, on the opposite edge of the phone, on top of the display, you have the earpiece, narrow, same size as before. You have also front-facing VGA camera, so you can do video chat with FaceTime, and even take self-portraits. On the left edge of the phone, you have the volume controls, volume up, volume down. They're separated, they're circular in size, good feel to them, and they also exhibit a really nice tactile response when you press them down. And on top of that, you also have the vibrate switch to easily put into vibrate mode. Just like last time, you have the 3.5mm headset jack, and on the top edge of the phone, you have the noise cancellation microphone, and you have that very easy to press dedicated power button as well. As you can probably tell, there's a cutout here for the micro SIM card slot. You gotta use a paper clip, a very small one, to access it. And finally, in the rear side, you have the upgraded 8-megapixel autofocus camera, single LED flash. It's a backside illumination, and offers a larger aperture, f2.4, so it should take better shots in low lighting conditions. One of the other major additions to the iPhone 4S is the upgraded CPU under the hood. It's a dual-core Apple A5 processor, which is coupled with 512 megabytes of RAM. Some say it's clocked in at 800 megahertz, while others say that's a 1 gigahertz CPU down there. But in any event, it does offer an astoundingly fast and peppy experience. You can tell just navigating across the home screen, it's able to keep track of our finger as we move it, so very responsive. It's kind of difficult to gauge how fast it is, but after running some benchmark tests on this guy, comparing it to the iPhone 4, we're really astounded by how much faster it is. And for most basic operations, kinetic scrolling, pinch zooming, opening up applications and multitasking, it's pretty fast in its response. So overall, we're definitely liking the speedy nature of the handset. If you haven't checked out our review of iOS 5 on our site, you might want to take a look at that, just because the iPhone 4S packs that latest version of the platform on it. Nothing really different about this guy here from previous versions of iOS. It's pretty much your straightforward approach, simplistic and easy to use interface. So for newcomers, very easy to get to adapt with it. There's limited personalization still, such as the background wallpaper. You could even change the arrangement of the icons in a grid-like format. You could make folders and whatnot for better organization. but at heart it still retains all the same aspects of iOS, and at this point it is kind of getting a little bit behind the curve versus some of the other competitors out there like Windows Phone 7 and even Android. The nice thing about it is that you have the new notifications tray on top. You just do a swipe down. You get some pertinent information right away, some notifications, some reminders, and of course local weather and stocks, all that fun stuff. And it's just nice just because when you do get a notification, it pops up at the top, so it's not as intrusive compared to before. If you double tap the home button, you get the multitasking menu here. You could switch between the applications very quickly here, and it's just very easy to use, and you have even access to some quick functions such as the music player and the orientation lock. Even though we're limited with the layout in terms of the screen size, the iPhone 4S keyboard is fantastic, just like all the other iPhones before it, just because the keyboard itself is very easy to use, and on top of that, very responsive to the touch, and combining its autocorrect feature, you don't have to worry about making too many mistakes. It's usually good with that aspect. Of course, the landscape option gives you a little bit more room for your fingers, but the other nice new addition is the bottom left here with the microphone. It has voice recognition services, so let's just test this out for you here. This is a test. And then it's going to transcribe it and automatically put it in for you, and voila. It works great and it's easy to use, almost like a hands-free experience. When it comes to looking at the core organizer apps with the iPhone 4S, it doesn't change that much, but with iOS 5 we do find some minor enhancements. So with the calendar, it's pretty much the same as before. The layout's hasn't changed. You have your month, day, list view. You can even sync it up with things like your Google Calendar if you wanted to. With the clock application, you have your traditional functions. You have a world clock, the alarm, stopwatch, timer. Nothing has changed with that aspect. Same thing applies with the notes. Nothing has really changed with that. You could jot down some quick notes if you want to. Weather application gives you the weather for different places. It's local too. You could specify which places you want. Nothing different there. You have also the stocks. Nothing again different. It gives you some useful information. You can see how much it changed, a percentage, and all that fun stuff. And finally, you also have the reminders, which is neat just because it functions with Siri, so it's also location aware. So if you tell it to remind you to call up someone after you leave home, it knows where you are. If you leave home, it'll automatically remind you. Without a doubt, the best feature found with the iPhone 4S has to be the Siri voice assistant service. It requires a data connection, of course. It's only specific to the iPhone 4S. It's just nice just because, unlike, just a regular voice recognition service, it is smart, it is aware, so it knows what you're talking about. And honestly, you could have some fun with it. So let's show you real quick what it could do here. Siri, can you tell me the weather in New York City?
Here's the forecast for New York City. NY today.
So there you go.
Tuesday.
It's really nice. Gives you some information, the weather, the temperature, and the upcoming forecast. Even other things like we'll show you another one here. Siri, what's the crime rate in New York City? So for things like statistics, it's pretty nice just because it gives you a lot of information. And of course, it might take a little bit of time, but hey, it gives you a lot of statistics. It's unbelievable how much it does it all in the background here for you. So you could tell the different types of crime and all that fun stuff. And we'll show you another quick thing that you could do with it here. Siri, can you tell me what is a 20% tip on $25.80? And you could also do conversions, calculations.
Checking on
really
that for you.
neat, to tell you the truth.
Here you go.
And there you go. So you could have full-blown conversations with it. You could do Google search the web, search whatever you want on your mind. It's really nice and easy, and you could tell pretty instantaneous. So we're very happy that Siri does offer a really nice experience, something that we don't tend to see that often. Not quite as enhanced. It's compared to the others out there. It is a little bit more enhanced. So overall, it's definitely a neat thing. We've always liked web browsing with the iPhone, and with the iPhone 4S, it doesn't change our opinion on that, just because the experience is gratifying. You have some responsive movements here. You can tell with kinetic scrolling, it pretty much is very responsive with pinch gestures as well. Lays it out just like we see on our website. Sprint's 3G network might not be the fastest, but on Wi-Fi, it's pretty good. The other neat, cool thing about it is that you have this new reader option, which gives you a very easy to read layout, just like as if you were reading it on a magazine or something. If you're big into listening to music, of course you're going to love the iPod functionality of the iPhone 4S. It's just like other iPhones before. Nothing's really changed with its layout or appearance. You can organize it by artists, by songs, by albums, and of course when you tilt it to landscape, you get that venerable cover flow mode here, which is definitely nice. Just gives you a really nice eye candy look to it, but nothing has really changed with it. Same exact experience as before. With the audio quality, it's strong, but at the loudest, it tends to have a little bit of sharpness to it, which can tend to be a little bit irritating, but for the most part, pretty reasonable. When it comes to watching videos, the iPhone 4S is such a pleasure to use just because with its Retina display, a lot of rich details, of course colors on the natural side, it's moving at a smooth rate, no stutteriness, it's just completely fluid with its movement, and overall, a great experience. Running the camera application, the layout and presentation is the same just like before, but there are some minor additions here. You have some icons here on top for things like the flash. You have options to turn on the grid or set the HDR mode. The front-facing camera, you have the toggle switch here on the right-hand side for video mode, the on-screen shutter key, and of course you also have the gallery mode itself. You can access the camera application from the lock screen by double tapping the home screen as well. You have touch focus, so you tap anywhere on the screen, automatically will focus. Not that many manual settings, but it automatically adjusts exposure when you do touch focus. If you swipe over to the left, you have the gallery right there for you. Really quick to access it too. Yet another improvement with the iPhone 4S is the higher 8-megapixel autofocus camera with LED flash in the rear. It has backside illumination and a larger aperture of f2.4, so it does produce better shots in low lighting conditions. And overall, photos are a joy to look at. There's a lot of details. Fine details are very distinctive and clear, especially in sunny conditions. You see colors that are very natural looking, realistic, and we're just astounded by the overall quality. Indoors under low lighting, there's sometimes a little bit of digital noise that's found in some of the shots, especially in lower lighting conditions. At times, it can overexpose certain areas that are a little bit brighter compared to darker areas, but with the LED flash, it does a great job in illuminating the scenery and doesn't really overexpose or degrade the quality. It just perfectly casts a nice light to the overall scenery, and overall, we're very happy with its performance. Additionally, we're content with the handset's 1080p video recording. It captures it at a smooth rate of 29 frames per second consistently, whether you're in sunny conditions or in low lighting conditions. You can tell with the video here, a good frame rate. It's not choppy with its movement as we're panning. Not that much digital noise or artifacting going on when you're panning very quickly in low lighting conditions. Realistic colors, good details, very nice to look at, and the audio recording is very, very crystal clear. No continuous autofocus, so you gotta tap the screen to refocus, and exposure is gradual as well. So overall, we're still more than happy with the results. Color quality is pretty good with the handset, with Sprint's network. There's just a little bit of background noise that we could hear with the earpiece. It's strong with its output, and voices for the most part are clear, but every now and then can sound a little bit choppy, but when you start talking, the background noise goes away. On the other end of the line, though, our callers didn't have any issues. Our voice was crystal clear in their end line, so they're able to hear us perfectly with no issues. And when we switch to using the speakerphone, it's pretty strong with its output, and very easy to hear out as well. With the redesign of the antenna, we still find some signal strength issues with the handset. Not as bad as the death grip from last year, but just the overall signal strength is kind of weak. In high coverage areas around us here, we're only able to get an average amount of bars, 3 bars out of 5, so not the strongest out there. But luckily, during our time testing it, we didn't experience any dropped phone calls. For all the talk and hype that Apple has said about the iPhone 4S, we're a little bit disappointed with the overall battery life with the handset. Just using it for phone calls, we did a continuous test phone call. We managed to get 7 hours of talk out of a single charge, which is a little bit below the 8 hours stated by the manufacturer. And as far as everyday use, it's nothing better than the iPhone 4 from what we've experienced. It'll still get you a good solid day with normal usage, but heavy or power users, you're going to still want to charge this up as much as you can, and definitely something you want to charge up every night. Just like last year, the iPhone 4S features a front-facing camera so you can use it for FaceTime, which still requires a Wi-Fi connection, but with the experience and quality, it's definitely usable. Voices are pretty much instantaneous and also in sync with the video on screen, and definitely one of the better services if you're into that kind of stuff. So nearly after a year and a half of waiting, the iPhone 4S is finally available to us. It's nice that it's available with 3 different carriers, so you have all your options for that. But if you're an existing Apple iPhone 4 owner, you might want to hold up from picking up the iPhone 4S just because it doesn't feel like that next generation device that we've been waiting for. We definitely like the incremental upgrades, such as a dual-core processor, which offers a really fast platform experience. The upgraded 8-megapixel camera takes better shots in low lighting conditions. And of course, the Siri voice assistant service. It's definitely intuitive, nice, and also fun. Definitely what makes the iPhone 4S stands out against the iPhone 4. But when you look at its design, nothing really fresh or new just because it retains the same design footprint as its predecessor. Still a premium feeling handset, but it's nothing that's drastically new. And underneath it all, pretty much the same features you find with the iPhone 4, such as FaceTime, the Retina display. It doesn't feel like a truly next generation device, so you probably want to hold off from picking up the iPhone 4S unless, of course, you're available for an upgrade, or if you're a really die-hard fan of the iPhone. You might want to look at the other devices coming up in the market, whether it be a Windows Phone 7 device, or even things like the Droid Razr or the Galaxy Nexus from Samsung. Those devices offer, slightly faster processors, larger displays, higher resolution displays, and of course 4G LTE connectivity for faster data speeds. Of course, the AT&T version gets you HSPA+, but not quite as fast as the 4G LTE connections with the competition. But nevertheless, definitely a respectable offering from Apple. So if you'd like to learn more about the Apple iPhone 4S, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V signing off. Thanks for watching, guys.